Well, we have been talking toys this morning because the National Toy Hall of Fame in the United States is asking the public to weigh in on this year's inductees. 12 finalists. You saw the Canadian standing out there, Trivial Pursuit, Battleship Connect 4, there's Battleship, the Star Wars lightsaber. They are all in the running. I think that's Elmo, isn't it, Linda? Yes, Linda's been looking through all of this.
Elmo.
Tickle Me Elmo, okay.
I have a bad experience with Tickle Me Elmo. We used to have one. It would just come alive in the middle of the night and just start talking. So it didn't stay for long in our house.
Pre-Siri, there was Elmo.
It was just like kind of crazy. It ended up out on the curb, I think, one day. Hopefully some child's enjoying that now. But this, yeah, I didn't even know. There's a National Toy Hall of Fame.
I didn't know either.
Rochester, New York, and they induct a bunch of toys every single year. But these toys have to kind of stand the test of time. They have to transcend generations. So they pick them pretty specifically. I grabbed a bunch for, I had, and some of our team here at Morning Live has.
These are some of the nominees.
So we've got Catan. So this was brought in by one of our producers here. I have never played this actually either, so I'm going to see if I can borrow it. The Star Wars lightsaber. This is not a Star Wars lightsaber, but it's the closest thing that I had at home. So
I got one from my nephew. Oh, love them. Okay.
Connect 4, which actually is like still a favorite in our house.
Never played that either.
No? Okay, we're going to play after the show because this is really fun and kind of addictive.
Oh, this I love though, and this I recognize.
Slime. Yeah. Okay, you're going to have to hold it, I think. Right. Okay, so I was making this last night with my daughter. She came home and she was like, why are you making slime?
You made this?
Yeah, I said, well, I've spent many years with the kids making slime. But I said, I'm making it for work. She said, don't you work in the news? I said, yes, I do.
We could use this on tense days. I think it's very, very good.
Many purposes.
Trivial Pursuit.
Love Trivial Pursuit, always a favorite of mine. A couple of others. One of the interesting ones, snow. Like actual snow, like winter snow, is on the list.
As a toy? Wow.
As a toy. Sand was actually inducted.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
We certainly play in it and with it for hours upon hours.
Yeah. Yes. Cornhole, classic game of cornhole. Spirograph, love the spirograph.
I love the spirograph.
Love the spirograph. My kids never took to it, though. I don't know why. Furby. I know some people still have their old Furbies lying around the house. There's another one that talks. And we mentioned Tickle Me Elmo. Yeah. So these are the finalists. Lots of nominations, thousands of nominations. I went out yesterday and just talked to some people on the street to ask them what were their favorite toys when they were growing up. And here's what they had to say.
Barbie. She was always perfect, so beautiful, and like...
She could be anything. So growing up, I loved to get as many professions as I could because I was like, oh, that could be me in the future, So that was what I like about it.
I feel like Beyblade was pretty popular back then, if I remember, like the spinning things.
They have opponents and they zip it with each other.
Beyblades?
Yeah. That was the thing growing up.
Okay. I loved Super Soakers as a kid. I really liked those water guns. The water gun fights were the best.
Miss Beasley. Miss Beasley. What's Miss Beasley? Miss Beasley was a doll that you pull the string and she would say, I love you. I said, can I have a hug? So that was my favorite toy.
I love it. I'm going to say Barbie, but her name was Midge.
Okay.
And her arms bent and her knees bent, so she was pretty cool.
I loved Barbie, too.
I like the horse trailer. That was the Barbie I liked.
You brought one of your favorite toys.
My sisters, they had Drowsy. Do you remember Drowsy? I think she also took a little baby doll. This is the only toy I have of my child. None of these, but this was Rusty.
I love Rusty.
Used to have bells in his ears, but Rusty still lives. And there's all sorts of research on more and more adults getting back into buying stuffed animals and sleeping with them to allay anxiety and just sleep better. So maybe Rusty may make a return.
I held on to a bunch of my more special ones. They're up in the top of my closet. I forgot to bring her in this morning, but my husband sent me this picture. It is not a great picture of my doll when I was growing up. This was my favorite. Do we have the picture of my doll? There she is. Looks, actually, this is not... She's been... Did
you cut her hair?
No. didn't.
That
but
was always the thing.
This was my doll, my very first doll, and the thing that I loved about it was you could actually feed her, like give her water, and then she would cry or she would wet her diaper. Like, what mother doesn't want a child that cries and wets their diaper? So this was amazing for me as a small
calico. Well, that's a little.
I
like
this was made by my husband's aunt out in Prince Edward Island.
Beautiful.
So we have that as well. We kept a few things, but not a lot.
So the ones that I like, just pictures of them, because I mean, Rusty didn't. We at home, because I had two sisters, so we loved Kerplunk. Those were good.
Loved Kerplunk.
And also Operation was a favorite. My best friend when I was a little girl had Operation. I was jealous. I used to be over that when that red nose would go. I love that. Well, that was always. And you know what? Jackie Bozanis wrote, Kerplunk in Operation. She shares my views. Always exciting, always had horse racing until the patient coughed. And Shelley O'Dwyer, she also said that Spirograph would be her pick. Oh, wait a second. Can I show Mr. Mouth too? I loved Mr. Mouth. Remember that?
I don't remember this one.
It was fantastic. You had the colors and you'd be on the arm and then that mouth would turn. It was battery operated.
Okay.
And the head would turn. And when it would open up, you had to time it just right to flip the chip into the mouth. And whoever was done their chips.
These are like really anxiety-inducing
stories.
Kind of
these are rainy days at the cottage. These are great memories.
Amazing.
That was fun.
I know.
All right, we'll find. You'll have to come back and tell us who's actually into the Toy Hall of Fame.
Okay, we'll do.
That's
going to happen in November.
Okay,
We won't have the nominees until November, but voting closes on Wednesday.
On Wednesday.